Good morning, boys and girls, young and old. Good morning. Today, I want to tell you a story of the biggest lesson I've learned in my whole entire life. Okay, this was many years ago. It was the year of our Lord, 1994. And I used to live really close to a boarding school. For those who don't know, a boarding school is a school where kids from all over the country would come in and stay, sleep, eat, go to school, and everything. And it was really fun because I didn't live inside of the boarding school. I lived right outside. So I had all the benefits from the boarding school, but I didn't have to stay there all the time. It was really good. But the best part about living close to a boarding school was the break. Oh, it was awesome because all the kids would go back home. And then we would stay, me and the other kids from the community would stay around, and we would have the whole campus just to play around. And I'll tell you, it was our playground. We would do everything. Every morning, we would go to the campus and play soccer, play volleyball, play basketball, swim. And if I was hungry, no problem. Just climb on a mango tree, and we had tons of it, many varieties, and just eat as many mangoes as I can. Not only mangoes, but they had peaches, they had oranges, they have berries, a bunch of other fruits. It was awesome. Many times I didn't even go back home for a meal. And my mom would even question because she knew I was eating because my clothes were always dirty with mangoes. So she knew it. But anyways, that place was awesome. One day I was walking with my mom through the campus, and I noticed something that I had never noticed before. Really close to the library, on the side, there was a metal shed, like a shed made out of metal. And I looked at it, and I asked my mom, "Mom, what's that?" And she used to go to that school when she was a kid, so she knew everything about it, right? So she said, "Oh, that's an old shed, you know what, just keep away from that shed because it's been closed for so long. There's probably animals and bugs inside. You don't want to be inside of it." But when she said I could not go, my mind just like raced, like I need to get into it, right? But there was a big old lock inside of it, so I couldn't do anything. A few days later, I was walking with my grandpa, and I kind of wanted to get a different answer, so I asked the same question. You know, kids do this, right? You know you do this. So I asked the question, "Grandpa, what is that?" And he answered the same way. "Oh, this is an old shed. Don't go inside. There's bugs and animals inside. Just keep away from it." And I just, the lock was so big I couldn't get in, so I just forgot about it. One day, one of the things that I liked the most to do with my time with my friends was play hide and seek. And depending how many kids came in to play hide and seek, we would have different boundaries in the school. Then we could only hide inside of those boundaries. And I remember a specific day that about 25 kids show up to play. And it was awesome, a lot of kids. So we had a bigger boundaries, to play. And, kids would go up the trees or behind the bushes or hide around the buildings. And I remember my friends were counting, and we were all running and trying to hide. And after a few plays, there was this one time I was running, and then on the corner of my eyes, I looked, and the shed didn't have a lock, and the door was a little bit open. And I said, "I got the best hiding spot in the whole world. Nobody's going to find me here." I forgot everything about my mom and my grandpa had said. I just didn't care. I just went inside, left the door a little bit open so I could have a little bit of light. And then I saw there were old gardening tools, and a very rusty wheelbarrow, a very rusty rake, a garden hose that was like my age, probably, or even older, super old, everything. I was like, okay, it's a good place. I just stayed still. And then all of a sudden, I felt a little sting in my back. And then the noise. And I just got out of the shed and started running. And then my friends who were looking outside, they told me that they saw me running with a big old cloud of bees right around me. And I was running so fast, and I outrun the bees because I ran super fast. And I got to my friends, and I was like, I couldn't even breathe. I said, "Bee." That's all I said. And my face, everything was start to getting warm and tingly and everything. And I just ran home. And then my friends told me, go home. And I ran home, and I got home. My mom was there, and she's like, "What happened?" And then I had to tell her. I said, "I went inside the shed, and I got stung by bees." And they said, "Don't worry about it. Just go in the room, take off your shirt." And she took, she got a big old spoon, and it was cold. I don't know. She said that, a cold spoon, when you put on a bee sting, it takes off the sting. I don't know if it's true or not, but it worked a little bit on me. And then she started pulling all the stings out of my back and counting. 1, 2, 3. Total, in my whole body, I had 44 stings. 41 in my back and 3 in my face. But I tell you the truth, the 3 in the face, it hurts a lot more than the 41 on the back. Because I had 1 in my ear, and my ear became almost like a cauliflower, huge. I had 1 in my cheek, and half of my face was like closed. I couldn't even open my eyes. And the one that hurts the most, 1 in my lip. My lip got super big. I looked like one of the Kardashians, huge. And it was like, oh man, what am I going to do? And my mom really, really patiently put the spoon everywhere in each one of them, and I started feeling a little more. And then she just told me, just sleep it off. It took a few, days to get back to normal. But that day, I learned 3 very important lessons. The first lesson is, if I'm chased by a bee, I can probably outrun Usain Bolt, because I ran really fast that day. The second lesson I learned was that I'm not allergic to bee stings, because if I was, I would be dead, in minutes. The third and most important lesson I learned was that I needed to trust the people who love me. See, my mom and my grandpa, they told me not to go inside, not because they didn't want me to have fun or find new places or, have an adventure. They told me not to go inside because they knew that I could be in danger. And I didn't listen to them. So I needed to trust and listen to the people who love me. And this is kind of like what happened to God, right? God gave us the 10 Commandments. And a lot of people say, oh, God gives 10 Commandments because he doesn't want us to do things. I don't think so. The 10 Commandments are there to keep us safe because he loves us so much that he knows that this is the box that we should be in. But even though sometimes we don't listen to God and go inside a shed and we find out that the shed is really boring, there's nothing there. But when we're there, we get stung by sin. And when we get stung by sin, as long as we run back to our Father, he brings that old cold spoon and heals our stings. And this was the biggest lesson I learned that day.